Hey everyone, welcome back to KDTechs. In today's video, we are going to learn how to build an Android app using MVVM architecture with Room Database, ViewModel, and LiveData step by step. To make it practical, we will be building a complete expense tracker application from scratch. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how data flows between your database, repository, ViewModel, and UI. And you will be able to build your own clean and scalable Android apps using the MVVM pattern. So let's open up Android Studio and get started. For this project, we will be choosing MTV activity. We will click next. We will name our application expense tracker and leave the rest as default and click finish. So as you can see, my application is ready. So first of all, what we need to do is to add our dependencies. First of all, I will add over here the Coft, which I will just directly use without using my libs.version.toml, and here I will just put my JetBrains.Kotlin.Coft. And also we need to add the KSP, which we need the id com.google.dev-tools.ksp, and we need to define the version. For now, I will just choose the version as I used before, 1.0.21. Let's sync this one and see if it's working fine. Okay, cool, everything good. So let's go and add the rest of dependencies. So for this one, I will be using view binding. So I will use the build feature, the data binding. Not data binding, we are using the view binding. So I will use the view binding over here, and then we will add the rest of dependencies. To save our times, I will just copy paste over here and explain to you what each of them is working. So first of all, this is for the ViewModel lifecycle for live data, and these three are for the room database to store our expenses, and the below two dependencies are for the our UI for view. One is for the recycler view and one is for the material for widgets. Okay, so let's move to our main.activity, and we will just remove this line of code, and we will go to our main XML. Our main XML currently have only hello world, and we can just first let's synchronize this. Let's run our application, how our application looks like. Okay, so we have this one error which says like the activity 1.11.0 requires the library application that depends on the compiler against version 36. So this one is simple. You just go to the build Gradle, and our target SDK we will increase by 1, which is 36, and we will sync it. Once all good, you can run again our application to see if there is any error. Cool, build successful, launching on device. Okay, so we can see our hello world message. Let's modify our main.layout. So first of all, I will change this one to linear layout. You can use your own way of creating a view, that's up to you. and I will just say padding vertical is 45 dp and padding horizontal I will just say 16 dp, and match parents all good. Okay, and then here we have like a text view. I will just say this is my text for showing the total expense amount. I will say TV total, and here I will just say the text style is bold, and text size should be 20 sp, and we say margin bottom is 8 dp, so it will have some spacing from this amount and the recycler view. We close this for now and create our design. Okay, so below this we are creating our recycler view. Recycler view has a width match parents, and the height should be 0 dp. Width layout weight is 1. This layout weight, how it works is actually will take the entire available space in our application, in our screen. So it means like from this below this text, the total text available screen is up to the bottom, so it will take all up to the bottom unless there is another object. So I will create one floating button over here, floating action button, we can say extended, and then I will say the width is match parent and height is wrap content, and we give this recycler view some ID, and this ID should be recycler view. And here also for the floating button we give some ID, and this ID should be floating action button 8, and we just give some text over here. The text should be 8 expense, and we give them margin horizontal, or maybe margin overall 16 dp, and we give it text size text size should be 18 dp, and the text style we give it bold, and what else, the gravity should be center. This button is supposed to be below the recycler view. Okay, our main activity design is ready. Let's go to add another design, another layout. We will be adding our expense item for the recycler view. So we say expense item, and for this one what we need to do is just this one should be linear layout, and we say this one is a orientation vertical, padding 12 dp. Nothing more. We just create two more linear layout with the match parent, web content, and orientation should be horizontal. One more. We just copy this one and paste below. One is we just say text view, and this text view should be width. Let's say the width is 0 dp, and the height is web content, and we say layout weight is 1. ID is the title. Yeah, we say TV title, and nothing much. We just say the text style is bold, and the text size should be 18 sp. Let's copy, and this one paste. So this one is horizontal, so it will be like side on side. If you want to see here, you just say TV, and then this one I say is amount, and this one should be a little bit more bigger, and I just say 22 sp. And this one I give the color, the text color, maybe I just say Android color blue, red, dark. Okay, we have these two, and just copy paste. One is for our title, one is for the amount, and the other one is for our TV category, and this should be for TV date. And this one, the text size, I say it's 14, and it's not bold. The text color, we can just say darker gray. Same for the up one. And this one also the text size, and it's not bold. Text size the same, 14 sp, and nothing much. Date and category 0, layout weight 1. This one doesn't need layout weight, and this one also doesn't need a layout weight. This one need a web content, and also this one web content, because this one we need to display at the other end. Okay, this one cool. Now we need to create one more XML, and that will be for our dialog. We say dialog aid expense. Just change exactly like linear layout, and the orientation is vertical. We create one edit text, and this one is match parent, web content. Input is let's put like the ID is edit text title, and here nothing much. In title and padding, no need padding, and input text, just edit text, and then copy paste this one, and this one should be amount. Amount should be input type number decimal. The hint we don't need over here. One more time, copy paste, and here we just say category. Here we then should be category. All right, these are our UI. So we have title, we have you can just say text, sorry, int amount. So we have title, we have amount, we have category. This is what we need, and we just give some padding over here. Padding should be 16 dp. Okay, this is for our dialog. Okay, now what we need to do is, first of all, we create our directory structure. So first we need data, then we need a repository, and then we need UI. So inside the data, what do we need? We need DAV, we need model, and we need database. First, let's go to the model, and in the model we will create one data class. We call it expense model. We have expense model. We just annotate it with entity, and then in expense model we say primary key. The primary key should be our ID. We have title, amount, and category. Actually, I activated the Gemini, so if you activate this Gemini, it will help you autocomplete all the classes and code. So this is something good, so you should use of it. So we have our ID, which will be primary key, and we have title, string, amount, double, and category as a string. We define this, and then the second one should be, let's create our DAO class. The DAO class will be an interface, it's not class, so we just create one Kotlin interface, and we call it expense DAO. Here, this one we will annotate it with the DAO. So here we need to define, you can see all this autocomplete. The code suggestion is coming from Gemini. You can do that, and you see the expense model already is they choose, and we just need to import it, and also this the room, insert, delete, and everything. So we have insert, and we have delete expense model, and okay, this one should be coming from our, let's go back to our model. So we have entity, we need to define our table name. So the table name here in our case is expense model. We just give it an expense model, or you can choose any name for it. So here in they are selecting our expenses from the expense model, which is in our case the table. Which table? This table we just created over here. So query, and you can just put static over here, so it will import everything. Then we have delete one. We should have delete, get all expense. We have delete, and we have one thing, the insert expense is okay. We insert based on our AI, but you can define something on conflict. What should it do on conflict? On conflict it should replace, and here in the query, the delete one, we can just say delete is okay, it's fine, but here from our table we just say order by descending. This is the thing, ID and descending. We add this one. delete expense. 3 of them are done. Now one thing we need to use is to get total amount, and for that one we just need to have a query, and this query should have like a select sum amount from expense table. What we are doing, we are actually selecting only amount from the expense model, and we sum it. We calculate all the amount, like we add all the amounts together, and then we just return the amount as a live data. So we say get total amount and return it as a live data is double. Okay, so in here we are inserting the data. In here we are getting all the expenses as a model, list of model, and this one also we can just say live data, and live data is a list of model. So live data, it should update in the real time. Okay, so our DAO class is ready. Let's create one database instant. For database instant, we can just simply use an abstract class. Let's go and create one class. We call it expense database. We make it as abstract class. This one needs to be annotated with database, and we say entities. What entities does it have? It has the expense model class, and we have where we need to define the version. If you in future you want to change anything in table, you need to update the version also, so we don't need the export schema. And here we have database, and we need to extend it with the room database. Let's add an abstract instance of the expense DAO. Now let's create companion object for our database, which is our expense. We don't need this one actually. We need companion object with volatile. This one should be with a capital volatile private instance for our expense database. Currently we initiate it, and then we just create one object of this. Okay, so expense, we have contacts and everything. What need to return the instance that we just initiated. If it shouldn't be null, synchronize this. Wall instance is equal to room dot database builder context dot application context expense database class dot java, and name is we need to choose the same name we put over here. No, I think it should be expense database, because that one is table, this one is the database. Okay, dot build. Now we have like a instance. Okay, all done. Our database object is ready. This is our database name, and here we have the table name. Okay, all good from our data side. Let's go to create a repository. For repository, we need to create a class just a normal class. We say expense repository. Okay, repository we have, and then in the constructor we pass our expense stuff. We just take it as a stuff, no need to create it. Okay, expense stuff. Okay, good. Now let's say wall all expenses. We just take all the expenses from LiveData, and this should be list of expense model. Coming from where? Coming from our dot get all expenses. Should be called only from the coroutine. We are actually calling it from the coroutine. Suspend. Okay, this one is not suspend function. Otherwise we need to add the coroutine function, so we don't need to add this one. And let's go to our repository. So now everything fine. And the other one is our total amount. It's a wall just now we got total amount. Yeah, we got our total amount and our expenses. And let's say our suspend function to insert expense, and also one suspend function to delete our expense. We just use the same way, just copy paste this one only to delete expense, and then this one should be delete expense. Okay, our repository is also ready. Now we need a view model. We go to the UI and we create one package. We call it ViewModel, and then we create another package. We name it view. Main activity will go to the view, refactor, and then here we just create one class. We name it as a expense view model. Expense view model. This view model should have application in the constructor, and then extend the Android view model and pass the application in the constructor to the Android view model. Let's initiate our repository here. Repository, and this repository is our expense repository. Expense repository, anything wrong with it? Expense repository in our view model. I think we need to initialize this one. Let's say init, and then we say repository is equal to expense repository, and we just pass it DAO. Okay, we need a DAO here. First, let's create our DAO expense repository, expense database. We take the expense DAO from the database and we pass to our repository. Okay, this one is good. Now let's in init, in here we say all expense and total expense, and we get from the repository. Okay, this one should be we initiate it first, live data, and this should be list of expense model. All expenses should be list of expense model, and then this one should be live data, and live data up double. We need to initialize this one also. All expenses is equal to repository dot all expenses, and the total amount should be total amount. Okay, why we have this? Cannot create an instance of a struct class. Repository should be double. Okay, this is not. That shouldn't be. Need to declare it first. Okay. Now, after init, what we need to insert expense. We need to get the expense model, and then we don't need. Okay, this one, the view model scope. This one you use for the coroutine, but so far we are not using any coroutine, so we don't need that one. We just use the repository, and then we say insert expense, and then okay, we actually need the view model scope. View is equal to view model scope, and for that we say launch on which dispatcher. We say dispatcher of IO, dispatchers.io, and we just say repository.insert expense, and we pass the expense over here. Same way, we just need to copy and paste this one, and here we say delete expense, and here we just need to choose the delete expense. Okay, we created two functions. One is for the insertion, one is for the deletion, and we use our coroutine view model scope to use the dispatcher IO. So this insertion and deletion will be on the IO, which is like input output. Most of this kind of like the input output operation will be performed on the dispatcher IO. This is actually the view model scope. Okay, our view model is ready. One more thing we need here is our expense adapter. First, let's create one package over here, which should be adapter, and we create our expense adapter class, expense adapter. Okay, so in our expense adapter, we have the class of expense adapter, and we need to create a constructor. In constructor, we need a private wall on delete click expense model unit. Okay, then what we need to extend? We need to extend it as a recycler view expense. Okay, recycler view, we need can add, and then expense view holder we can create over here. First, let's create the private wall expenses, and this expenses should be list of list of expense model. Now let's create our inner class for this expense view holder. Expense view holder, and then we just pass the binding over here, binding, and the expense item binding. So this expense item is actually our expense item over here. We created this one, so the binding of that expense item, and we extend it with the recycler view dot view holder and we just pass the binding dot root to our view holder. Okay, nothing more, we don't need anything here. And let's say our override implement all the function and just implement here. So first we have on create view holder, which has like our view type integer and the parents group. Okay, first we need to wall binding is equal to expense item binding dot inflate layout inflate from parent dot context parent and false. We return the expense binding. Okay, the view count, we just get item count, we can just return directly the expenses dot size, and the on bind view holder. Okay, here is our rel story starts. So we have wall x single expense, and this one should be expenses and position from single position. So this one is like a looper throughout our expenses, and we get one expense over here, and then we need to holder binding text view expense title and amount as a string here. You can do as toString, or you can just use the string interpolation, and the date to date, and this one the expense dot. Okay, we need to have one thing here, model, and we should have a date over here. Let's go back dot date. All good. And then the other one is holder dot item view dot set on click listener. Set on click listener is on delete click. We just pass the expense to it, and we just say true. Need to create one function over here, fun set expenses, and that one we take as a list of expense model. We say expense is equal to list and notify data set change. So this one is for the live data, this one is for the state management. Okay, so we have expenses that will be passed to our okay, this is supposed to be wall, not wall. Our adapter is ready. Let's go to the main activity. So in our main activity, what we need to do is we just create our private latenet var binding, and this binding should be our activity binding. Then private latenet var, this one should be our view model. Okay, this is not Android view model. This one should be expense view model. The third one is private latent var should be our adapter, which is expense adapter. And here we, after these two lines, let's delete, and we say binding is equal to activity binding dot inflate dot layout inflator. Set content view is binding dot root. Our view binding is activated. Now we have adapter is equal to expense adapter. We take each expense from it, one single expense, and we pass it to our view model. View model, delete expense, and then the other one is the recycler view. We pass the adapter to our recycler view. One more thing over here, we need the binding dot recycler view dot layout manager. We set as a linear layout manager, and then we say view model is equal to view model provider, and this, and we just say expense view model dot class dot java view model dot all expense dot, we need to observe all the expenses coming from our view model, or from our, when we add one expense, it's supposed to change it, store in database. From the database, our observer, the view model observer, will fetch and display on the screen in real time. We need to directly pass our expense to our adapter. Okay, this one is done, and now we have our binding dot e8 button dot set on click listener, and we just say show 8 dialog. This method we need to create. Okay, we need to create this method, private function show 8 dialog. We need to use the binding for this one also, so we say wall dialog binding is equal to dialog 8 expense binding dot inflate dot layout inflator, then wall dialog is equal to alert dialog dot builder this set title a expense at the title dot set view dialog binding dialog binding dot root. So we set the view, and then dot set positive button, not the icon button, we say 8, which should do all amount category string and date. Okay, this one we need to format a bit. simple date format, and we just say day MY. So local dot get default dot format date. So it will take today date, current date, and just format to this date format, and then we just pass it to our model, and then pass our model to ViewModel. ViewModel dot insert expense, and then we just say expense dot set negative button cancel do nothing dot create. Since we have completed everything, so let's run our application and see how does it looks like, and are we missing anything. Okay, our application is up and running. We will click at the add expense button. The dialog will open. We just try to add some expenses. Internet bill amount is 198.60, and we name the category as internet. Okay, our internet is added. We create another one, say fuel, amount is 50, category is car, anything you can put. So it's like, and you can see the total over here and the listing over there. Just create another one, maybe phone bill, amount is 74.20, category phone. Okay, so our listing for the expense tracking working fine, and we have our total amount over here, and then the amount, and then the category below, and with the date, which is in our PARM format, which is like a day and the month and the year. You can see same over here, day, the month, and the year. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to download the source code links I have given in the description, so you can download the source code and enjoy your learning. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you once again.